Welcome to Devotions with Pastor Al. Today, I want to look at Jesus and his example of weeping. I'm going to be concentrating on one specific passage of Scripture, but I want to encourage you to do a further study on the different times and places where we see Jesus weeping in the Scriptures. So for today, let's look at Luke chapter 19, verses 41 and 42. And it says this: Now as he drew near, he saw the city and he wept over it, saying, If you had known, even you, especially in this your day, the things that make for your peace. But now they are hidden from your eyes. The word wept might be rendered wailed. In other words, Jesus burst into sobbing as he lamented the lost opportunity. This was a deeply moving moment for Jesus. His tears were not for his own fate in Jerusalem, but for the lost opportunity for those in Jerusalem. What we learn from this passage is that the spiritual blindness of the people was such that they did not discern the meaning of the visitation. Jesus said, If you had known, even you, especially in this your day, the things that make for your peace. This was a turning point for the Jewish people. Their leaders had rejected Jesus, and most of the people were following the wrong voices. Yet, if they had known Jesus and his work as Messiah, they might have been spared the destruction to come. Further on in Luke chapter 9, verses 45 and 46, it says this, and it's very important. The word then. Then he went into the temple and began to drive out those who bought and sold in it, saying to them, It is written, My house is a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. Notice that word then. The word then in this case is used as an adjective to indicate that something exists or belongs to a time mentioned. In other words, it describes what happened before that as a noun. Then helps tell the story, in other words. And in this case, it describes the sequence of events. In this story, Jesus drove out the merchants who, in cooperation with the priests, cheated visitors to Jerusalem by forcing them to purchase approved sacrificial animals and currencies at high prices. The merchants operated in the outer courts of the temple, the only area where Gentiles could come and pray. Therefore, this place of prayer was made into a marketplace, and a dishonest one. That's why Jesus called it a den of thieves. However, what I want you to see here is, this is important to note, is that Jesus wept over the people before he went into the temple and drove out those who bought and sold. I'm convinced we will never be able to walk in righteous anger unless we are able to weep and be broken for the state of sinful man. In other words, someone once said, Don't whip if you won't weep. This is my prayer, that we have God's heart for people, God's heart for the broken, that we would pray, we would weep for those that are lost. God bless you. Continue to acknowledge the Lord in all your ways.